Okay, I think one of the most, tragic and weird things about being from the United States and growing up there and seeing the evolution of food and what people eat is the sugar. The sugar has been introduced to everything, ketchup, pickles, and it's all got sugar in it. I grew up in a high school that had Pepsi machines because they had a special contract with to poison children. Where are we at with this whole sugar thing? And what's the difference between like high fructose corn syrup and regular sugar and the glycemic index of all these kind of stuff?
So in general, it's obviously a problem. There's an excess of these refined carbohydrates in general. Sometimes it's pure sugar, sometimes it's refined carbs in different forms. They're all an issue because, and it might all come down to just caloric intake because these things are refined and because of the way they're put together, people end up eating more calories than they need. And so you end up storing too much fat, and that has all types of metabolic consequences. It's absolutely an issue. I think it's a general issue of ultra-processed foods with or without sugar. I mean, the funny thing is people are aware of this issue of the sugar. And so, of course, the processed food, the food industry is happy to cater, hey, here's some junk that is sugar-free, right? And if you're wary of fat, hey, here's some junk that is fat-free. So at the end of the day, it's not so much the one ingredient, it's avoiding this category of foods that are these ultra-processed packaged foods, because they'll supply those foods with whatever mix of ingredients you choose. If gluten-free, high protein, they'll put fiber in there, they'll throw a vitamin in there. It's not a problem.
I remember when they started telling people that everybody was getting fat, and they were like, "Oh no, everybody's getting fat." People started complaining. They're like, "Well, we're getting fat," and they said, "Oh, well, we'll take the fat out of everything, but we'll increase the sugar by like 30%." Right. Thanks, free market.
And they can take out the sugar also. And some of these products do seem to be comparatively better. Like if somebody asks me, should I have Diet Coke or should I have regular Coke? We have pretty compelling evidence that the Diet Coke is better.
Really?
Yeah.
What you did a video. Wait, let's talk about artificial sweeteners, because I'm not a fan, and apparently the consensus is against me.
So it depends what you mean by consensus, because the last video we did on this topic, I was actually disagreeing with in a way the consensus of the WHO,
which is saying that they're fine, or no, they said that they're bad.
They were kind of discouraging artificial sweeteners.
And right. Yeah, that's what I say. But I'm still skeptical.
So my position, based on the evidence, and I've talked to a number of people who research this specifically. By the way, I don't consume artificial sweeteners. I don't go out of my way to introduce them into my diet. But the question with artificial sweeteners is, are they better than the alternative? Are they better than the regular sweeteners?
Oh, wow.
That's who it's made for.
That's
I don't
true.
think anybody's right. I mean, it's either question is valid. But I don't think anybody's arguing that someone like you or me, who isn't consuming a lot of junk food and a lot of any sweetener, should be going out of their way to consume artificial sweeteners.
Okay.
The argument is, here is a product that is similar to the one you were consuming, but has artificial sweeteners instead.
The methadone of the whole thing, yeah.
Right. So we have a lot of evidence indicating that, yes, this is better in terms of weight loss and cardiometabolic markers and even outcomes than the regular sweetened products.
Okay.
Now, might there be concerns long-term with intake of a lot of artificial sweeteners? It's possible. The studies we have don't go 30 years, so it's entirely possible. I'm entirely open to that. So it really depends on what question you're asking, right? Is it, yeah.
It's really difficult to get long-term studies anyway, and the only people that are really can pay for long-term studies are the corporations, basically, that make this stuff. And aren't long-term studies incredibly rare in for food products? So
randomized trials are usually short, and especially the corporations usually pay for short-term trials because they want a result fast. And there might be other reasons there in there as well. And they're also cheaper, obviously.
Yeah.
The very long term, like decades, are almost always not going to be randomized trials. They're usually these epidemiological observational studies. So those are out there, but they have some caveats to them. Randomized trials also have caveats, but they basically are complementary because they cover for each other's weaknesses. The randomized trials tend to be smaller and shorter, and these observational studies are longer and larger, but they have some other caveats in terms of the more variables.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So we have to take all of these, none of these studies are perfect. And we have to take all of it and kind of put it together in this mosaic that we were talking about and see what the big picture looks like. And that's basically how we arrive at conclusions on anything in science, in, nutrition and biomedicine.